After a successful $1 million heist at the fair, the group of robbers are sitting in the car discussing the plan to rob a jewelry store. They see Parker as the intelligent one, so they continue to invite him to join them in carrying out this job, but he refuses. The reason is that this gang is too unprofessional, not highly capable, and also very ruthless. Seeing they couldn't persuade him, the leader, Melander, signals his henchmen to take out guns to eliminate him, because he also had no intention of sharing a single dime with Parker anyway. Seeing the situation wasn't good, he uses his elbow to strike hard into the face of the guy sitting next to him. Melander intends to shoot him, but amidst the chaos, the bullet flew towards the driver. The car loses control, but the guy next to Melander quickly grabs the steering wheel, then turns back and aims straight at Parker's chest and shoots. Caught by surprise, Parker is hit. He quickly breaks the window and jumps out of the car. Due to carrying the gunshot wound plus jumping out of the car at high speed, Parker is bruised all over, bleeding profusely. But the leader doesn't intend to let it go. He orders his henchman, August, to get out and finish him off to eliminate the future threat. This guy, whose nose Parker had just made bleed, so he hates Parker intensely. He takes his gun and shoots him, not forgetting to kick him down into a nearby ditch to make sure he cannot survive. Actually, Parker and this group of 4 thieves did not know each other beforehand. He knew about them through an introduction from Claire's father. Mr. Hurley is also a discreet robber who had carried out many successful heists with Parker. He assessed him as an extremely meticulous person, so he connected him with Melander's gang. They planned to rob the supermarket's treasury, so they desperately needed an experienced person like him. If he agreed, the whole group would willingly let him plan and direct, because they knew Parker's principle is to rob the rich, not the poor. And above all, Parker never wants to harm innocent people. That morning, in the town holding a very crowded fair, it was even easier for the gang to disguise themselves to blend into the crowd. First, 2 henchmen disguised as 2 clowns mixed into the crowd heading to the predetermined location. They turned into a corner alley and put up a tarp to prevent anyone from seeing. One guy removed a wall panel then crawled down. This was right below the vault. After everything was done, he released 2 bunches of red and blue balloons to signal to his accomplices that he had successfully infiltrated. As for Parker, he wore a wig and disguised himself as a priest to deceive everyone. He appeared very gentle. The vendor let him play darts for free. When he won the prize, Parker gave it to the little girl waiting for her turn. Looking up, he saw the bunch of balloons his accomplices signaled with. Parker approached the security booth. Before leaving, he called August and reminded him, "That guy better stop checking out girls. It's time for action." He was assigned the task of burning the horse stables. The purpose was to use the fire to lure the police there, helping his accomplices have time to steal the money. But when August arrived, a guard stopped him because the horses inside were eating. The guy angrily cursed the caretaker and left. Inside the vault, everyone was diligently counting the earned money, unaware of the presence of the 2 clowns disguised as Melander and his henchmen. At this moment, Parker, in his priest guise, came knocking, pretending to ask the 2 young police officers for directions. He naively gave Parker directions. Suddenly, from under the floor, the green-haired clown jumped out. He pointed his gun at the police officer but dared not shoot him dead, because Parker said they would not kill innocent people. He also rushed in to take the police officer he just spoke to hostage, threatening everyone in the room to raise their hands and surrender and put away all listening and calling devices. When the police officer, out of extreme fear, had an asthma attack, Parker very kindly said, "We will not kill innocent people. Today you will go home safely to your girlfriend if you behave." Funnier still, he even said, "Thank you, Father." Melander was very surprised by Parker's top-notch improvisation skills. He used a blowtorch to break open the safe door, then stuffed all the money into backpacks. Suddenly, a loud explosion was heard from outside. Knowing that August hadn't followed the original plan, the 3 split up and fled. Everything was August's fault. When looking for the haystack right by the horse stable but not finding it, he looked around and randomly burned another pile near the performance stage. This area was full of old folks dancing. Unfortunately, the fire spread to where the gas cylinders were stored. When the fire spread downwards, causing the pile of cylinders to explode, people trampled over each other running. Many fell due to the large explosion. Another accomplice was outside, disguised as a police officer. When he saw the fire trucks arriving, he knew it was time to pick up his accomplices. The 2 clowns were already waiting, then loaded the backpacks of money into the back of the trunk. On this side, Parker calmly removed his wig in disguise. Due to the crowd fleeing, no one saw his suspicious actions. When he saw the festival burned to ruins, he was very angry. Returning to the base they had agreed upon, He rushed out of the car and punched Auguste painfully in the stomach because he didn't follow his instructions. Afterwards, they all went to the back and transferred the money to a larger vehicle, then drove off. The subsequent events unfolded just like at the beginning of the movie. Parker was betrayed by Melander's gang and thrown into a ditch. But main characters are always very lucky. As Parker lay dying, a car passed by and saw him. So the father and his 2 children waded into the water and pulled him ashore. Seeing he still had a chance to live, they took him to the hospital. Opening his eyes, Parker saw himself lying in a hospital room. His arms were covered in tangled wires. Above, the television was broadcasting news about yesterday's incident. When he learned that a 51-year-old man had died in the arson, Parker was furious. He definitely had to avenge himself on Melander's gang. The elderly patient in the next bed advised him not to get up yet and intended to call a nurse, but he stopped him. The old man said that because he had no family or identification papers, the hospital had reported it to the police. When he opened the door, Parker saw several cars with sirens blaring approaching the hospital. The old man was a good person. He said Parker was sick and needed help more than him. Then, taking advantage of an employee turning their back, Parker tightly choked him until he passed out. Next, he disguised himself as a doctor and pushed the old man out into the hospital lobby. Luckily, no one recognized him. Once outside the entrance, he let the old man go, not forgetting to wish the old man a speedy recovery. He got into an ambulance parked nearby and drove away. In the ambulance, he took available medicine to treat himself. Recalling the ungrateful actions of Melander and his gang, Parker ground his teeth and vowed that he would not let this case fade. He would take revenge on all of them. After the pain subsided, he stopped at a roadside lodging near a hunting spot. Waiting for the person in the room to leave, he snuck into the bathroom, washed himself clean, then took weapons and left, not forgetting to swipe the guest's car. The first thing Parker needed was a new identity. He contacted Norte. He is a master forger of documents, with close ties to Hurley, his future father-in-law. Norte said this would require a lot of money to complete. Parker okayed it immediately because he was planning to rob a pawn shop that specialized in exchanging money. He used a gun to subdue a store employee, then threatened him into telling his colleague that he had just been shot and was being helped by this man. As soon as the person inside opened the door, that person was immediately subdued by him. They were very obedient and did not resist, so Parker would not harm either of their lives. Afterwards, he took the money and fled. Reaching the door, he immediately jumped into the 7-seater car of the old woman from earlier, because compared to the beat-up car, this car was much better. Driving straight to Norte's place, he was enthusiastically introduced to various services by the old man, but he only needed some basic documents and lied that the purpose of using them was just for car installments, not for fighting. So this old man actually believed him and was unintentionally dragged into trouble. He scheduled him to return in 5 days to pick them up. On this side, Parker called Hurley to report the incident. Learning that he intended to find Melander's group for revenge, the old man advised him to let it go, not to get involved with this gang. Suffering a small loss wouldn't matter. Because Melander has powerful backing, his henchman is August. This guy is Danzinger's nephew. That guy heads the notorious Chicago Mafia organization, a notorious arms smuggler. But Parker didn't care. He threatened Hurley to give him their information. Finally, the old man knew he couldn't stop this stubborn young man anymore, so he revealed Bobby's information. That guy is August's brother, so investigate starting from him. He went to the bar as Hurley instructed. Upon entering the bar, 3 large, fat bouncers stopped him, but when he said he was sent by the boss Danzinger to talk to Bobby, they agreed, but said he still had to wait outside. Taking advantage of the guy going up the stairs, he used a fire extinguisher to knock him unconscious. Entering the room, seeing Bobby yelling at the manager, Parker said, "Where is August right now?" Bobby angrily ordered his henchmen to grab him, but they couldn't do anything to Parker and were slammed head first onto the table by him. Next, he used a bench to clamp Bobby's neck tightly and said, "Your brother teamed up with Melander to screw me over. Spill the address, or I'll send you to heaven." But Bobby stubbornly said he would call his crew and Parker would be in big trouble. He retorted, "Trouble as big as my fist," then tightened his grip on Bobby's neck, causing him to cry out in unbearable pain, making him confess that his brother was in Florida, specifically in Palm Beach. Suddenly, a henchman entered. He shot towards Parker, but he quickly escaped into the crowd and disappeared. Fearing the upcoming events would affect Claire and Hurley, he called to inform them they should lie low for a while and advised Claire that she should go travel somewhere to relax. Right at that moment, at a house in Palm Beach, the robbers were preparing weapons and planning the next jewelry heist. August received news from his brother Bobby that a crazy bald guy was pursuing them, that it was Parker. They were angry learning that he wasn't dead, but was hunting them all down. Melander furiously pressed a gun to August's face, threatening, "Hurry up and contact your mafia uncle, or we'll all be in trouble." Now it was all August's fault for not dealing with Parker thoroughly, so the responsibility would fall entirely on him. And furthermore, old Danziger also profited from the fair heist, exactly as Parker had warned. The next day, while Claire and her father were preparing to leave, a hitman was lurking outside their house. He waited until the father went to pick up the stepmother, leaving only Claire at home. This guy pried open the door and entered the house. He snuck up to her bedroom, but made a noise that alerted Claire. She grabbed a small knife, then used the fire escape to flee outside. She cleverly punctured the hitman's tires, then got in her car and drove away. Claire, calling Parker while crying, told him about the assassination attempt. He told her to calm down and drive to his fishing ranch in the suburbs. He would return on Friday to pick her up. Afterwards, he went to Norte's workshop to get the fake documents before going to Florida. But upon arrival, Parker discovered a group of assassins had been sent to Norte's house, having learned he had helped him forge documents. He walked inside. Ignoring Norte's henchman pointing a gun at his head, he demanded Norte give him the papers. The old man was furious for suddenly being dragged into trouble by Parker. Parker told Norte that he had been sold out by this guy. After saying that, he turned the gun, shot Ernesto in the leg, and locked his hands tightly. An assassin on the other side took advantage of the situation to lunge for the gun on the table, but was shot dead. Norte didn't want trouble. He obediently gave him what he needed. After being reminded by Norte that he should memorize his information, he got a new identity as Daniel, an American of Ecuadorian descent. He assumed his new identity and headed to Palm Beach to track down Melander's gang. Before leaving, he didn't forget to tell Norte to handle the 3 assassins sent from Chicago. Later, Mr. Hurley met him and advised him not to go to Palm Beach. That place, for every 10 people, 8 are cops. Messing around there would get him cuffed immediately. Hurley even lied that those guys had returned the money he was owed, hoping he could let this go. He thought Parker alone couldn't fight against a mafia gang like Danziger's. But he refused, because this was no longer about money but about professional principles. Finally, Hurley agreed. He advised Parker that if he wanted to avoid suspicion, he had to pretend properly. If he went there and rented a place, he would definitely attract the attention of the cops. Parker agreed and came up with the bold idea of buying a place outright there. Putting thought into action, the next day, he went to a real estate office and told the consultant that he wanted to buy a villa here. Seeing he looked like a tycoon, the agent Leslie was very happy and tried her best to close the deal with this customer. It should be known that since divorcing her husband, she faced financial difficulties and had to move in with her mother. Furthermore, if she didn't sell a house this month, she risked losing her job. Even the car she was driving was being repossessed by the bank. Her client today was Parker. He introduced himself as Daniel, looking to buy a house. This made Leslie consult very enthusiastically, hoping he would put down money as quickly as possible. Actually, he was just using her to take him on a tour around the villa area, because he thought Melander had previously said they would use the $1 million as capital for the upcoming $50 million heist, so he guessed they would buy a house here. While touring the area, he only paid attention to a cheap house, making Leslie suspect he was a poor guy pretending to be rich. She checked online and was devastated to find out he only had $25,000 in his bank account, leaving Leslie desperate because at this rate she would go bankrupt. That evening, he snuck into Melander and his gang's house. Confirming they were inside the house, he snuck around to the back garden, waiting until a car drove out of the garage. He quickly took advantage of the open door and broke in. Parker walked around checking the house, but saw no one. He hid 2 guns under the table, in case they were needed. Then, he went to the storage shed to find the weapons they had hidden, and found several guns. However, he didn't take them but used a knife to damage the safety catches, then rearranged everything as it was before returning before the gang came home. In the car, August said his uncle had sent another hitman, and this guy was at Norte's place. Unfortunately, this time the old man couldn't escape death, being stabbed once in the heart by the hitman. Suddenly, he saw Leslie waiting for him. She knew he was just an imposter. Even the name Daniel was fake. He grabbed her hair and demanded to know which gang she worked for. She said she came here alone. Only then did he release Leslie. She also knew the group who just bought that house was a gang of robbers, and so was Parker. She begged him to let her join the job to get money to cover living expenses, because this real estate job paid little and involved harassment from old men. Parker found it slightly amusing, saying a weak woman who didn't know how to use a gun, how could she possibly help? She said she was useful because she knew the local people of Palm Beach well. If he came as a stranger, he would easily be scrutinized and targeted, but with her help, it would be much easier for him. Suddenly, he asked her to take off all her clothes and lift her hair up, thinking he was about to betray his girlfriend to have fun with a strange woman. Luckily, he was only checking her body for any tattoos. The next day, the two continued to play the roles of the consultant and the wealthy client. He explained to Leslie that he would let them rob the jewelry, then they would snatch it from under their noses. But she worried Parker would kill the group as well. She didn't want to get involved in murder, but Parker said he had his own calculations. When Leslie learned the jewelry store Mellender's group was targeting was Mrs. Grandon's jewelry chain, because the auction would have so much security, not even a fly could get through the door, she asked to quit the job immediately, but it was too late as she had already agreed to participate. Mellender's gang was one step ahead of them. They disguised themselves as decoration staff, thereby easily learning the position of each item on the official auction day. At the same time, the hitman they sent had snuck into Parker's apartment. However, Parker snatched the knife away, and the two fought fiercely. Parker threw him into the kitchen cabinet. Next, he used a cord to strangle the guy. This guy was also a professional. He quickly broke free and attacked Parker again. He used the plastic shower curtain to cover his face. Just when it seemed our main character was about to die, he kicked hard at the man's foot, causing him pain and lowering his guard. Thanks to that, he successfully used the toilet tank lid to smash this guy, killing him on the spot. Knowing this place was no longer safe, he secretly fled to Leslie's house. Early in the morning, she had a visit from the police. She panicked when she saw bloodstains in the kitchen and secretly wiped them away, but when the blood-covered dog walked into the kitchen, she discovered Parker, covered in blood, hiding in her house. To cover up, Leslie lied that she knew nothing. Luckily, the policeman had a crush on her, so he just told her to be careful and left. When he left, Parker told her to call Claire to come and treat his injuries, because his girlfriend was a nurse and she would keep him safe. Coming home from work, Leslie saw Claire and chewed her out. Leslie said, "You're his girlfriend and you don't stop Parker? He's injured like this, and he still plans to go rob." Looking at this situation, it was unclear who Parker's girlfriend really was. The auction time was approaching. Parker had to finish his soup to regain strength. Meanwhile, Mellender's side had distributed weapons to prepare for action. They split into several groups, one side with Mellender and two henchmen disguised as firefighters, August posing as a yacht crew member, the remaining people hiding at the auction. As the old spy from Mellender's gang was making the welcome announcement, the platforms on both sides suddenly exploded, causing the elite guests to flee in all directions. August observed smoke rising from afar. He called his accomplices to report the situation. The accomplices' fire truck immediately arrived at the scene. These guys tricked all the guards outside and locked the doors. Then, the gang freely looted jewelry worth tens of millions of dollars, because after this job, they would be rich and live comfortably for the rest of their lives. Finished, the robbers planned to escape by diving underwater to wait for August's boat to rescue them. But unfortunately for this guy, the patrol police drove their speedboat in pursuit from behind and ordered him to stop. On the shore, a crowd of guards stood watch. Surrounded both front and back, made August reveal his uselessness. He panicked greatly. He was forced to leave while his teammates still had to grope underwater. Learning that all the necklaces and rings had been stolen, the police dispatched helicopters to search for Mellender and his accomplices throughout the night, causing severe traffic congestion. Thinking about Parker having no one to help, she drove back to pick him up, but by this time he had already gone alone to Mellender's house. She immediately drove to that house. At the same time, the gang had returned. They laughed with satisfaction at having successfully completed the heist. However, while hiding, Leslie was discovered by August. He threatened her and dragged her into the house. Mellender suspected she was sent by Parker and that he was lurking outside. August flew into a rage, physically assaulting her, causing her to fall, and threatening to kill her if she didn't confess. But Leslie still pretended she didn't know who Parker was. The whole gang checked throughout the house to find where Parker was hiding. The long-haired guy went to check the backyard. Unfortunately, he was stabbed from behind in the neck by Parker, killing him instantly. After learning the long-haired guy was killed, the leader sent August to check again. When he showed reluctance, he was forced by Mellender at gunpoint. At this time, Parker was inside the house. When he saw the black guy harassing Leslie, she looked towards where he was hiding, causing Mellender to spot him. He shouted that if he didn't come out, he would shoot this woman through the skull. Worried about Leslie, Parker didn't notice Mellender holding a gun behind him. Luckily, he turned back just in time, creating an opening for Leslie to grab the gun under the table. She shot the black guy multiple times. Taking advantage of his large build, Mellender used one hand to hold Parker, while his other hand punched him repeatedly in the stomach. Just as the gun barrel turned towards Parker, he managed to deflect the barrel and stab the guy in the shoulder. He threw him backwards, then punched him in the face for revenge. One shot ended Melander's life. Hearing the gunshot, August ran in and subdued Leslie. But he was terrified facing Parker and threatened, "If you kill him, Uncle Danziger won't let you off." But he didn't know that the gun August was holding had already been tampered with by him. A second later, August was dispatched by Parker with a shot between the eyes. After escaping, the two left with the pile of expensive jewelry. Parker told her to hide it all. If she managed to sell any pieces, she would be paid via courier, and she must not deposit the money in the bank. Transforming from an office worker into a rich woman made Leslie ecstatic. Months later, just as promised, a package arrived at Leslie's house. Opening it revealed it was full of money, making her run straight upstairs overjoyed. Of course, Parker didn't forget the life-saving debt to the family who helped him when he was in trouble. They were secretly sent money by him, paid off all their debts, and even bought a new house. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching this video. What are your thoughts on this movie? Please leave a comment below. See you next time.